Part 9. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 81. Rongxian came back late at night. He thought he was safe, so he asked the lawyer to have dinner and socialize outside. When he came back, he found out about the stupid things Mu Ling had done. Originally, he had destroyed all the evidence in Mu Zi's hands. Even if Mu Zi insisted on appealing, it would be groundless. If she made a fuss, Mu Rongxian could sue her for defamation and extortion, but now, it was all ruined by that recording. Even if there is only Mu Ling's abuse in the recording, people outside will only think that it is Mu Rongxian's connivance, which caused his daughter to bully the weak. What will people think of him? Cold, mean, cruel, unloving. His character will be questioned, and his career will also be affected by this, no matter how difficult it is to go further. Even Mu Yun, who was not involved in this matter at all, will be implicated. The vicious sisters of the Mu family, that's what people would say about them. Mu Ling's momentary pleasure ruined her future, as well as that of Mu Yun and Mu Rongxian. Mu Rongxian was furious. In a fit of rage, he smashed the ashtray in the study and slapped Mu Ling severely. He didn't have a son, so he devoted himself to nurturing these two daughters, and even sent them to Gray at great expense, in order to help him in the future, not to discredit him. Mu Yun and the housekeeper at home heard the news and came to intercede for poor Mu Ling. Mu Rongxian couldn't get over his anger, but he couldn't beat his daughter violently in front of his servants. He kicked everyone out of the study and called the lawyer again to explain the reason. Mu Ling is due to take the exam in a year, and Mu Yun is about to get married, and he has been the director of the office for some years. Nothing can happen at this juncture. He has to settle this matter. The next morning, Mu Rongxian personally delivered a bank card with 2 million yuan in it. Because Mu Zi didn't sleep well last night and woke up late, she handed things over to Bai Wei. Bai Wei was stunned by the sudden acquisition of 2 million. This. Bai Wei pinched the bank card, completely confused about the situation. Mu Rongxian had a gentle expression, the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes stretched smoothly, and he didn't see the anger from yesterday at all. Mu Ling did something wrong. As a father, I feel very ashamed, since the child wants to go to school. We adults can't let her disappointed. These are tuition fees, take them. The conversation showed generosity and was full of the care of the elders. Bai Wei murmured, but this is also. This is too much. Besides, didn't he disagree before? Suddenly receiving such a large sum of money, Bai Wei felt very uneasy. Mu Rongxian smiled kindly, this is my heart, you just accept it. You have suffered a lot in our Mu family these years, Bai Wei, the Mu family is sorry for you. A look of loneliness appeared on Bai Wei's face, and she said in a low voice, is it right to talk about it? We are all a family. Since we are a family, don't be polite to me. Take the money. Mu Rongxian persuaded again, and Bai Wei accepted the bank card. Mu Zi walked down the stairs slowly. She seemed to have not woken up yet, her steps were weak. When she raised her eyes and saw Mu Rongxian, she was only taken aback for a moment, then her expression did not change, and she walked down leisurely. Brother is here, Mu Zi greeted. Bai Wei said, Zizi, your elder brother specially sent the tuition fee here, thank him soon. Oh, thank you, brother. Mu Zi was kind and quick to respond. However, it is not known how much sincerity is in this thank you. Mu Rongxian narrowed his eyes slightly, squinting at Mu Zi who was going downstairs. It was hard for him to believe that a 16-year-old girl would be so scheming, and would reverse the situation as soon as the incident happened. Is she really smart, or just a stroke of luck? Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 82. It's neither advanced nor complicated to irritate the other party and then record, But the magic is in the timing. Most people, including adults, are terrified the first time and wait until the next day, or even many days, to come up with a solution. But Mu-Zi made a move almost immediately. At that time, Mu Ling had just destroyed the evidence, and it was the time when he was complacent, so he was completely defenseless, so he was caught by Mu-Zi. Could it be, he really lost his sight? Mu-Zi didn't know about Mu Rongxuan's scrutiny. She leaned on the soft sofa with a charming expression. "Mom, do you still have breakfast? I want to drink red bean milk." The 16-year-old girl is immature and ignorant. Her every frown and smile reveals innocence. It is hard to believe that she has such a scheming heart. Mu Rongxian was a little confused. "Want to drink soy milk? Mom will make it for you, and it will be ready soon." Bai Wei got up immediately, and then she seemed to be reminded, and hurriedly said, "Rongxian, I'm so sorry, I didn't give you it after you sat for so long. Pour a cup of tea." After all, he turned around and went to the kitchen to prepare refreshments and soy milk. Zizi, there was a gentle smile on Mu Rongxuan's face, and there was scrutiny and inquiry in his eyes. "I heard from Xiaoling that you recorded something, can you show it to Big Brother?" Okay. Mu-Zi's voice was soft and waxy, like a little girl's delicate voice, "but my brother said that I can't take it out until school starts." Mu Rongxuan's expression froze slightly, and then he felt relieved. Asking sky-high prices for both money and a car, such a tricky and shameless threat is indeed very similar to what that prodigal son Mu Rongcheng would do. "Did your brother ask you to record it?" He stared into Mu-Zi's eyes without blinking. Mu-Zi nodded gently and submissively, and opened her innocent eyes like a deer. "Yes, my brother said that if you do this, Mu Ling will never bully me again, and you can let me go to Gray." Mu Rongxian smiled, his eyes were gloomy. "I see. It was Mu Rongcheng who was playing tricks." Mu-Zi took Mu Rongxuan's reaction into her eyes and remained calm. "Anyway, Mu Rongcheng has an unscrupulous image outside, and Mu-Zi didn't feel guilty at all for planting him." "Zizi, Xiaoling won't bully you again," Mu Rongxian assured Mu-Zi with a soft tone, "but, you want to hand over the recording to elder brother, and you don't really want to go to court with your family, do you?" Mu-Zi shook her head, her clear black eyes shone with tiny rays of light, pure and clean, like a docile little white rabbit. "Brother, I don't want to go to court, I just want to go to Gray to study." Mu Rongxian felt relieved and thought, after all, a young child who doesn't understand anything dares to go to a place like a court? It must have been instigated by Mu Rongcheng. "Give the recording to Big Brother, and Big Brother will send you to Gray to study." Mu Rongxian was gentle and seductive. "It doesn't matter if you have poor grades, Xiaoun graduated from Gray and can help you with your homework." Mu Yun? She didn't think that Mu Yun would kindly tutor her, but she was afraid that there would be more teasing and sarcasm. Mu-Zi didn't answer Mu Rongxuan's words. She looked left and right, her eyes averted a little. "Will Big Brother give me that car too?" Mu Rongxian was slightly stunned, and then a sneer of disdain flowed from his eyes. When Mr. Mu was alive, he liked to collect famous cars. In Mu's garage, there were many limited edition luxury cars. That pink Hummer was the cheapest car in the garage. A child is a child. Seeing that the car is pink, he asked for it like a toy. However, Mu Rongxian changed his mind and thought again, "It's just an adopted daughter, it's normal for her to be ignorant. That car belongs to your third sister-in-law, and I lent it to Aunt Jiao for use recently. I have already made an agreement with your third brother, and I will send the car back tomorrow." Mu Rongxian suppressed his eagerness, and said again, "Purple Zi, now give the recording to Big Brother." Mu-Zi cheered suddenly, jumped up happily from the sofa, ran to the kitchen and shouted, "Mom! That's great! Brother said he would give me that pink Hummer." Mu Rongxuan's smile froze at the corner of his mouth. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 83. The Mew family is very rich, wealth is accumulated from generation to generation. For example, this vast garden villa has luxurious furniture, world-famous paintings, and famous cars collected by Mr. Mew. These are very expensive, but they are not cash. Mew Rongxian is very clean and honest as an official, and at the same time he needs cash to socialize, and he also needs cash to raise his children. In the past, Mew's group's dividends were used to maintain his dignity, but now that the group is in crisis, Mew Rongxian took out 2 million from his not-so-abundant savings. It was like a piece of heart was cut. Breathing feels heart-throbbing. But he paid the money and promised to get the car from Mew Zening, but he failed to get the recording in the end. Mew Rongxian's heart and eyes were full of anxiety, and even the breath from his lungs seemed to be on fire. The recording on Mew's phone is like a time bomb, threatening him all the time. But he can't take it by force, because he still needs dignity and reputation. A group of people came to Xiaoanglu, saying that the tailor from Lujiang's side came to tailor clothes for Bai Wei and Mu Zi in person. Mew Rongxian didn't even have the chance to mention the matter of the recording, and finally had to leave angrily. Mu Zi watched Mew Rongxian's leaving back from the window, her eyes flicked with sly light. This time, Mew Rongxian was bleeding profusely. If he didn't get the things, how could he let it go? Even if the recording is given to him, I am afraid that there is still a backup. The safest way is to completely destroy the phone. Anyway, if he can pretend to steal once, he can pretend twice. The corners of Mu Zi's lips curled up slightly, and she smiled coldly. Mew Rongxian, don't let me down. As long as the mobile phone is destroyed, she can justifiably change it for another mobile phone. Even if Mew Rongxian sends it again, she can use the new mobile phone she bought as an excuse to refuse him. Not only got the tuition and the car, but also got rid of Mew Rongxian's cell phone. It really kills two birds with one stone. Mu Zi was in a happy mood. Zizi, look at this piece of material, how beautiful it is. Bai Wei was fascinated by the sample fabric brought by the tailor, and she was full of praise. Pair it with a fringed shawl, and you must look beautiful in it. Yes, very beautiful. Mu Zi caressed the soft fabric and replied with a smile. Now even if you give her a rag, she still thinks it's beautiful. In the end, Bai Wei ordered 4 cheongsams for herself and 6 cheongsams for Mu Zi in one go. If it wasn't for the fact that Mu Zi was young and still growing, she might have ordered more. The next day, Qiao Jingjia came to deliver the car. When she received a call from Mu Zening, she was surprised. Unexpectedly, Mew Rongxian would not be able to deal with a little girl, and actually took out 2 million to satisfy the other party's appetite, and even asked Mu Zening for a car. Qiao Jingjia was unwilling to send the car back, but from her standpoint, it was hard for her to say no, so she could only remind vaguely, but, Sister Su liked this car the most before her death. Solve this matter first. Mu Zening's tone seemed irritable. Kids like the new and dislike the old. I'll just change the car back after a while. Qiao Jingjia understood that there must be something wrong with the company that made Mu Zening anxious, and because the older brother asked for help, it was difficult for him to refuse as a younger brother, so he agreed to give the car to Mu Zi. Okay, then I take the subway to work these days, Qiao Jingjia said in a low voice. Mu Zening gave a faint first work hard for a while. Qiao Jingjia's fingers tensed unknowingly, and jealousy surged in her heart. Also going to the procuratorate to work, Mu Zening personally took Su Zi to the gate of the procuratorate every day, rain or shine. He was reluctant to let Su Zi drive the car, let alone take a taxi or take the subway. He was afraid that Su Zi would be tired. But now it was her, but Mu Zening didn't respond at all, he just said hard work. What irony! Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 84. Qiao Jingjia drove the car into Mu Zi's garage, then went to the small building, took out the car keys and handed them to Mu Zi. On the metal keyring, there is a pink plush ball. Mu Zi received it with a smile, and squeezed the fur ball gently. Familiar touch. It's a little embarrassing to say, although she has always appeared in the public eye as a strong woman, but in fact there is a little princess living in her heart, who likes all cute things that are fluffy, pink, and tender, and cute. Whenever she saw rows of claw machines around the mall when she was shopping, she couldn't move her feet. Even in his attitude towards love, he yearns for the romantic beauty of Prince Charming. Zhang Xi often made fun of her for this, saying that she was not only childish, but also old-fashioned. Now that even junior high school girls know how to read novels by the CEO, who still reads fairy tales. How could Prince Charming exist? Mu Zi felt a little proud. Who said it doesn't exist? Didn't she just meet him? After Snow White died, she was brought back to life by a kiss from the prince. She was the same, she was also kissed by the prince, and then came to life. I just don't know where the prince is now, alas. I really hope that he will show up soon, and then, save her from the devil as soon as possible. That's right, Murong Cheng is a devil. I have already delivered the car. You have to cherish it in the future. This is your third sister-in-law's most precious car, Qiao Jingjia said with a smile, but the smile was cold and cold. Sister-in-law's baby, of course I will cherish it. Mu Zi needed the hairball in her hand, with an innocent expression on her face. It's just that Auntie Qiao is troubled, and it's inconvenient to travel without a car. As she said, she chuckled first, but Aunt Qiao is so old, it's really strange to drive a pink car. In fact, taking the bus is also good. You don't have to worry about traffic jams, and it's green and environmentally friendly. The coldness on Qiao Jingjia's face was even worse. Every word of Mu Zi seems to be tinged with thorns. She didn't know when she had offended Mu Zi, she only thought that the adopted daughter of the Mu family had such a temper, surly and willful, difficult to get along with. Such a temper will suffer a great loss sooner or later. Qiao Jingjia thought firmly in her heart, Mu Zi is too ignorant, offended the first and third young masters of the Mu family. The situation in this family will only be more difficult in the future. Without her help, Mu Zi's life will be difficult of. Thinking of this, Qiao Jingjia looked at Mu Zi with more condescending pity. What a pity. After extorting 2 million and a car, I started to be complacent. After that, I don't know where I will live. Qiao Jingjia thought that she had greater ideals, so she shouldn't waste time with Mu Zi, so she left with a cold face, not even bothering to pretend to be friendly on the surface. After waiting for her to leave, Mu Zi couldn't wait to go to the garage. The Hummer was quietly parked in the parking space, with a rough and handsome appearance, but a bright and enchanting color, forming a huge contrast. Mu Zi loves this feeling so miserable that her eye sockets feel hot. She opened the door and sat in, holding the steering wheel again, and everything was the same as before. However, there is a faint smell of perfume in the air. Mu Zi held her breath uncomfortably. Although Qiao Jingjia only borrowed the past few days to drive, she had sat on the seat, held the handbrake, and had her long hair on the floor mat. Mu Zi felt disgusted and couldn't accept it. Mu Zi has no obsession with cleanliness, but she will never allow anyone to touch anything that belongs to her. Just like the love she yearns for, it is absolutely pure and absolutely unique. She sat in the car and thought blankly, my little cutie is finally back, but it is no longer my little cutie. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 85. In the past few days, the Mu family has been calm. Mu Rongxian was in a bad mood for bloodletting and paying compensation in order to settle the matter and spend the night outside for several days. The slap marks on Mu Ling's face haven't faded, and he locked himself in the room every day. Mu Yun didn't bother Mu Zi either. Mu Zi spent the most comfortable few days since her rebirth. She picked a good weather, went out by car, and drove the Hummer to the Ford store, requesting to replace all the interior of the car with new ones, and do some maintenance by the way. Next, Mu Zi plans to go to a private detective firm. Prosecutors investigate cases, have their own deputies and assistants, and have the authority to assign the police to assist them, and occasionally cooperate with private detectives. Mu Zi knew several reputable firms, and was going to try her luck there. I don't know if it's because God thinks that she has lived a comfortable life for too long, and wants to make her unhappy, so she waited for a long time by the side of the road, but there was no empty car. Seeing that there was a bus stop not far away, Mu Zi changed her mind and took the bus. As a result, when the bus reached a certain stop, the man standing behind her suddenly snatched her bag. "Get out of the car!" "Ah! Someone robbed!" Several passengers in the car shouted out at the same time. Mu Zi hurriedly got out of the car to chase after the bag thief, and two brave passengers also chased after him, but the thief ran too fast and disappeared without a trace. The passengers all sighed, "Even if we call the police, it will be useless, these thieves are all smart now." Mu Zi smiled slightly, and said, "It's okay, I don't have much money in my bag anyway." In her bag, there is only a mobile phone. Mu Rongxian finally made a move. What a novelty, last time it was burglary, this time it was street robbery. She really wanted to give him a 5-star review. The bus continued to drive, and the passengers around were still talking about the thrill just now, and there were many sympathetic eyes looking at Mu Zi. Embarrassed by the focus, she got off at the next stop and planned to take another bus. No luck. At the stop where I got off, the front and rear roads were desolate, and I couldn't see half of the car, and I didn't know how far I had to go to the next station. Mu Zi stood for a long time, her heels hurt slightly, so she sat in the shade and continued to wait. Without a mobile phone, it is quite inconvenient, at least now I can't make calls for help. But, thinking that Mu Rongcheng has no way to locate and follow her, I am quite happy, ha. Mu Zi waited patiently for a while, but unexpectedly, a familiar silver Maybach arrived. She frowned. She recognized this car, it was Mu Zenning's regular car. The car slowed down slowly and stopped in front of Mu Zi. Mu Zenning's face was exposed behind the car window. "Zizi, why are you here?" Mu Zenning raised his eyebrows slightly, showing a bit of surprise. He glanced at the bus stop next to him, guessed that Mu Zi was waiting for the bus, and said, "Get on the bus, I'll take you there wherever you want." Mu Zi was very disgusted with Mu Zenning. It's even more disgusting than disgusting Mu Rongcheng, because Mu Zenning is hypocritical. "But I don't know when the bus will come, and it is obviously difficult to get a taxi here, and, her feet really hurt." Mu Zi was not pretentious, opened the car door and got in. "Where are you going?" Mu Zenning asked her. Mu Zi replied in a low voice, "Movie theater." Of course she couldn't tell him to go to a detective agency. "Anyway, the movie theater is only 2 streets away from that office, so I will work harder and walk a few more steps." But Mu Zenning frowned, "You invited friends to watch a movie? Zizi, you won't hang out with those bad boys again, will you?" Mu Zi looked out the car window, and said in a cold voice, "Third brother is too worried, if you don't have time, you can park now, I will go by myself." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 86. She could act innocent in front of Mu Rongxian, and tricky in front of Jiao Jingjia, but in front of Mu Zhenning, she didn't want to act anything. Because I don't have that mood, I only have disgust and remorse for him. Mu Zi's hostile attitude made Mu Zhenning frown even deeper. He held the steering wheel and drove towards the cinema in silence. On the way, Mu Zhenning tried to talk to Mu Zi, wanting to ask her why she insisted on that car. Jiao Jingjia said that it was the little girl's vanity that caused the trouble, but Mu Zhenning always had a strange feeling when facing Mu Zi, feeling that she didn't look like that kind of willful and ignorant child. But Mu Zi in the rearview mirror had an indifferent expression on his face, clearly putting on a posture of rejecting people thousands of miles away. Mu Zhenning wanted to speak several times, but finally gave up. The long eyelashes drooped slightly, concealing the deep emotions in the girl's eyes. When she is silent, her face will show a kind of precocity different from her age, which is not only pure, but also charming, with a faint sense of mystery, which is very attractive. Mu Zhenning suddenly wanted to know her. Suddenly a shrill whistle sounded ahead. Mu Zhenning woke up suddenly, and hurriedly turned back the steering wheel. He almost drove on the wrong side of the road just now. Mu Zi in the back seat stabilized her body amidst the bumps, and glanced at Mu Zhenning lightly. Mu Zhenning felt that he was very strange today. He didn't dare to think about it anymore. He settled down and focused on driving. All the way without words. When the car drove to the movie theater, Mu Zi got out of the car straight away. Mu Zhenning also got out of the car. Is your friend here yet? Mu Zhenning looked around, all young couples. He was thinking, did Mu Zi ask out that little boyfriend before, but was let go? Mu Zhenning said, I'll take you in. If there is no one waiting for the movie to start, he intends to persuade Mu Zi to go home with him. Mu Zi looked up at him, and said coldly, Third brother, you can't park here. Mu Zhenning looked around, wait here for me, I'll drive the car to the parking lot. After all, he drove away in a hurry. Mu Zi stood there and rolled her eyes. Wait for him. Something is wrong. Mu Zi turned around and headed towards the office, not planning to wait for Mu Zhenning at all. A black luxury car on the side of the road suddenly made a piercing sound. Mu Zi was startled, subconsciously followed the prestige. The car door has been opened, and the man got out of the car. Mu Zi hadn't seen the other person's face clearly, but only saw the half-supporting hand exposed above the car door, with slender fingers and distinct joints. She suddenly realized something, her eyes widened suddenly, and she turned her head and ran away almost instinctively. Escape. Escape to the cinema. Panicked and embarrassed, she tried to use the crowd around her to cover her whereabouts, but her legs were weak and she couldn't stop stumbling. The man came a few steps closer, and immediately hugged her by the waist. Ignoring the girl's desperate struggle, he stuffed her into the car effortlessly. The car sped away, leaving behind the stunned onlookers. In the end, they thought it was just young couples arguing. Mu Zi was thrown into the car, and before she could sit still, a man's kiss came over her like a crushing blow. He kissed her lips, kissed her neck, kissed her everything, with anger and viciousness. The big hand tore her clothes mercilessly. He was completely out of control due to jealousy. Mu Zi was frightened, she was terrified. Murongchang, Murongchang. You stop. But Murongchang was like a lunatic, and almost stripped her naked. Mu Zi collapsed. It's in the car. How dare he? Bastard, she cried, Murongchang. You bastard. She scratched and beat the man on her body like crazy, wishing she could die with him. Snapped. A loud slap hit Murongchang's face. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Hua Liao. Chapter 87. Silence. There was a deathly silence in the carriage. Murong Cheng was stunned. He has never been beaten by a woman. He raised his hand and gently wiped his cheeks, bringing up a touch of wetness, which was blood. It must have been Mu Ziyi who scratched him with his fingernails when he was exerting force. The man with the smell of blood looks like a demon, even more terrifying. Murong Cheng's eyes were scarlet. He slowly came back to his senses. He squeezed Mu Ziyi's jaw with one hand, as if he could crush her in the next moment. He's like a raging lion. Zizi, what did you promise me? Murong Cheng's voice was hoarse to the extreme, and his whole body was full of danger. Need I remind you again? Mu Ziyi was afraid of him, but at the same time, she was also very angry. I didn't date him. I just happened to meet him on the road, and he sent me to the cinema, that's all. Murong Cheng fixedly looked at her, as if he was trying to tell the truth from what was said. Mu Ziyi bit her lip and looked at him without fear. Her moist eyes were burning with anger, both angry and wronged. She wasn't lying. The hostility in Murong Cheng's eyes gradually dissipated. Really, Murong Cheng's expression softened a little, and he asked in a low voice, didn't you go to the movies together? He has a heart for Mu Zhenning. Because she was afraid that Su Ziyi's love for Mu Zhenning would end, every time she thought about it, she would worry about gains and losses. Just now when she suddenly saw them together again, and they were still in front of the movie theater where lovers gathered, she couldn't contain the jealousy in her heart and completely lost control. He had already lost once, and he couldn't accept losing it a second time. Mu Ziyi sneered coldly, aren't you very capable? Go check it out. I didn't even say a word to him all the way. Are you satisfied? Murong Cheng's face turned from cloudy to sunny, his thin lips slightly raised, and he even forgot that he was slapped just now. He got up from Mu Ziyi, hugged her in his arms, and took the initiative to help her fasten the buttons again. However, he tore it too hard just now. Now with a light touch, those buttons fell apart and rolled onto the car, as if he was silently accusing him of the atrocities just now. Don't touch me. Mu Ziyi knocked off his hand, and hugged the broken clothes to the edge, with tears of resentment hanging on her face. When Murong Cheng saw her angry and wronged look, he probably knew that he had gone too far just now. He took off his shirt. Seeing him taking off his clothes, Mu Ziyi looked like a frightened rabbit, with his back pressed against the car door, staring at Murong Cheng. It seemed that if he did something else, she would jump off the car and run away, even though they were driving at high speed now. Murong Cheng looked at her, a little funny, but also a little distressed. Put mine first. He draped the shirt over her body. There was his scent on the shirt, the faint scent of tobacco, and the coolness of the man himself. Mu Ziyi wished she could stay 8 feet away from him. She didn't want to wear his clothes at all. But her clothes could no longer cover her body, so she could only accept them with resentment and aggrievedness. Fortunately, Murong Cheng's shirt was wide enough to wrap tightly around the place that should be covered. The wide hem of the shirt reveals 2 white and tender calves, which are very attractive. Murong Cheng felt hot in his heart, couldn't help but hugged her into his arms again, bowed his head and kissed her arched knees. The round knees are small and delicate, as white as jade, with soft pearls, and the curves of the calves are slender. She is like a doll. Mu Ziyi didn't want to be touched by him, and struggled in his arms. Go away. Don't touch me. Murong Cheng reached in from the bottom of the clothes, stroked the delicate skin, and said unhurriedly, if this one is also torn, there will be no clothes. Mu Ziyi shuddered and didn't dare to move. Murong Cheng's thin lips curled into a faint smile, and he pressed her forehead affectionately. Zizi is so good. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 88. Murong Cheng hugged her all the way. Fortunately, he didn't do anything more excessive, probably because he was afraid that he would really annoy her. Mu Ziyi ignored him and didn't look at him, but looked at the scenery along the way outside the car window. She didn't want to talk to Murong Cheng, so she didn't ask where the car was going. Anyway, it's useless to ask, she is just a little pet in Murong Cheng's hands, she has no human rights at all. The car was running smoothly, and the scenery outside the window was monotonous. Muzi I just cried a lot, and now she is gradually feeling sleepy. Before she knew it, she fell asleep in Murong Cheng's arms. Like a little hedgehog who has restrained his entire body, he let go of his vigilance, revealing his soft belly, showing his most dependent side. Maybe even she herself can't explain why the most dangerous embrace is the place that makes her most at ease. Murong Cheng carefully adjusted her posture so that she could sleep more comfortably. The car stopped at the entrance of Huake Royal Hotel, and Muzi I woke up. She was a little confused, and subconsciously looked out the window. When she saw clearly where it was, her whole body tensed up. Murong Cheng. If you dare to touch me, I will kill you. Muzi I's face turned completely pale. A man, taking a woman to a hotel, his purpose is self-evident. But Murong Cheng didn't take Muzi I's anger at all. He coaxed her like a child, I won't touch you, just take you to take a bath. What a bath for no reason. He must be uncomfortable. Murong Cheng lowered his face, sitting in his car, don't you think it's dirty? Who knows if he's ever had sex with a woman in the car? Muzi I's expression froze. The image of Mu Zhenning and Xiao Jingjia in the car suddenly appeared in his mind. Yeah, it's so dirty. There might still be their bodily fluids on the upholstery of the car seat. And she actually sat on it. Dirty. Muzi I's current feeling is as disgusting as swallowing a fly alive. She wants to take a shower. Now, right now, right now. But what if someone sees you? Muzi I felt uneasy again. Huake Royal Hotel is not an ordinary hotel, it is an entertainment city, and it is the Golden Cave of Xinjiang City. It is a place where high-class people gather, and it is also the favorite place for journalists and paparazzi to squat. If someone saw her like this. Muzi I shuddered. She grabbed Murong Cheng's arm, her face was pale and white, do you want everyone to know that you brought your sister to the house? Murong Cheng, you will destroy me. Murong Cheng held her face in his hands, and pitifully kissed her cool and soft lips, no one will see it. How is this possible? Muzi I didn't believe it at all. The car drove into the underground parking lot and entered a special passage. There was really no one here. The entourage sitting in front of the car opened the door, and there were silent bodyguards in black on both sides. Muzi I got out of the car under the arms of Murong Cheng, and walked into the special elevator in a daze. She knew that Murong Cheng had some influence, but she never expected that he would have such great authority in Huake Royal Hotel. The Huake Hotel belongs to the Huo family. Muzi I looked at him sideways, inquiring, I heard that the new head of the Huo family is called Master Rong, and you work under Master Rong. Murong Cheng looked down at her with gentle eyes. That's right, he rubbed the top of her hair and replied with a smile. Muzi I was terrified. The Huo family is the head of the 4 major families in the Huaya Empire, and its power can no longer be described as a mere wealthy family. The president will change every few years, but the Huo family has been in Lizhu for decades, and they are as immovable as Mount Tai. The taxes paid each year alone exceed more than half of the government's revenue, which shows its strong financial resources. Murong Cheng actually got involved with the Huo family. Muzi I's fear of him added another layer. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 89. Muzi I fearfully followed Murong Cheng to the hotel room. He didn't meet a single person along the way, only Murong Cheng and his followers were by his side. Although she breathed a sigh of relief, she was even more certain in her heart, Murong Cheng was someone she couldn't afford to provoke. It's one thing to be sane, but quite another to be pissed off. While taking a bath, Murong Cheng's tall figure leaned against the door of the bathroom, showing no intention of leaving. Mu Zi was furious and cursed, "Rogue! Get out! The bathtub is very slippery, I'm afraid you will fall," he replied with a smile in his eyes. Mu Zi took the disheveled hair and showered him with water. He went out laughing. The frosted glass door of the bathroom was slammed shut by Mu Zi, making a bang. Murong Cheng heard her scolding inside, "Pervert." Mu Zi scolded him many times, but every time he regarded it as flirting, as some kind of kindness. Murong Cheng happily enjoyed it. Mu Zi came out of the shower, wearing a milky white silk bathrobe. The clothes were a little too big, the hem was empty, and the soft curves were faintly revealed. Murong Cheng's eyes were a little straight. In fact, his appearance has a bit of the idiot temperament that Wang Zhan said, but his appearance is so high that even if he shows obsession, it will only make people feel affectionate, focused and handsome. Mu Zi ignored him, took a dry towel, and sat on the edge of the bed to wipe his hair. The skin that has been soaked in water is moist and delicate, revealing a charming pink color, which contrasts with the slightly damp black hair, making it look as clean and charming as an ink painting. Murong couldn't take it anymore, so he pressed her on the bed and kissed her hard. Musa struggled to no avail, and her strength was not as good as his, so she could only cry loudly, "Your words don't count. You said you wouldn't touch me." "I didn't touch you." Murong Cheng's tone was quite aggrieved. Presumably what he thinks of touch is slightly different from Mu Zi's understanding of touch. Wang Zhan stood outside the door of the room, when he heard the girl inside shouting and cursing, and the girl crying again. He was terrified. After going in later, does he have to collect the girl's body? She is the first one who dares to scold Master Rong. She was also the first one who dared to hit Master Rong. Wang Zhan didn't miss the crisp slap on the car. At that time, he almost thought that Murong Cheng would kill him with one shot. But not long after, he heard Murong Cheng laughing lowly from behind. It's weird. Could it be that Master Rong never touches women because he likes such strong women? As expected of Master Rong, the taste is so unique and exciting. The door opened suddenly. Wang Zhan was startled. He quickly picked up the clothes in his hand. "Master, the clothes you want." Murong Cheng ordered, "Go and get a nail clipper, and some anti-inflammatory medicine for external application." "Ha! Nail scissors?" Wang Zhan couldn't react. What kind of fun was this? Her nails were broken and bleeding. Murong Cheng's expression was a little irritated, and he simply said, "Forget it, just bring the medicine box over here." "Master, your face," Wang Zhan reminded cautiously. The slap on the car left a light blood stain on Murong Cheng's face, like a cat scratching. "Shouldn't I deal with this noble and handsome face first, and then think about cutting nails?" "Hurry up." Murong Cheng dropped two words, and closed the door flatly. Wang Zhan. After a few seconds in a daze, he heard curses coming from the room again. "I want to change clothes, you go out." "I'll change it for you." "Shameless, don't touch me." Wang Zhan's heart trembled again. This woman is unusual. Blessed to have each other in this life. Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 90. Mu Zi broke out in sweat. She got dressed at last, but her situation didn't improve much. Murong Cheng held her hand, trimmed her nails, and said in a joking tone, "Don't hit people at every turn in the future. It's a bad habit. You have the strength like a cat." "It didn't hurt anyone. On the contrary, you let yourself see the blood first." "Pain." He cut off the half-torn nail and wiped the blood with a cotton swab. In fact, it was only a small wound, but he stubbornly wrapped the gauze on it, and then kissed that spot intimately. Muzi was angry about what happened just now. She kept silent and didn't look at him directly. She has become a little numb. Murong Cheng didn't care, and continued to trim other nails, then lifted her foot to rest on his lap, poured some medicated oil, and gently massaged the soles of her feet. Muse's heels are a little red, probably because he walked too much today and it's worn down. Murong Cheng kneaded her white and delicate feet, thinking to himself, she is so delicate, even walking a few steps can cause injuries. However, he liked her squeamishness. Even if she yelled at him angrily, he would only find it cute. When I like someone, no matter what she says or does, I feel pleasing to the eye, and the more I look at it, the happier I am. It's like a disease, a terminal illness for which there is no cure. The skin on the bottom of his hands is soft and pink, and the touch makes people lustful. Murong Cheng couldn't help but bowed his head and kissed her, carefully pecking at her snow-white instep, pearl-like toes, and smooth ankle. Muzi finally had a reaction. She looked down at him, and said coldly, Murong Cheng, you are disgusting. Murong Cheng lightly bit the back of her foot, and asked with a smile, kissing is not disgusting, but would you like it? Muzi bit her lip, wanting to say that would be more disgusting, but with Murong Cheng's shameless state, he would probably answer like this, really? Why don't we give it a try, what's more disgusting? She simply shut up and stopped talking, but in the end she couldn't help herself, so she snorted heavily. Murong Cheng smiled and didn't bother her anymore. After applying the medicine, he held her in his arms and sniffed the fragrance of her hair. Muzi is very delicate, so far he refuses to let his tongue in. Although he can also force her, but kissing, if it's not your will, it will be less fun. Murong Cheng would occasionally lose control when he went crazy, but when he was calm, he would try his best to respect her and not annoy his baby. But in front of Muzi, he often seems to lose control. Wang Zhan waited until the room was calm before he dared to go in. He pushes the little food trolley in the hotel, like an elegant waiter, with a well-placed smile on his face. It's not time for dinner yet, but Murong Cheng was afraid that Muzi would be hungry, so he asked someone to prepare afternoon tea. Girls have to eat by themselves. The man scolded her, how can I hold a spoon if my finger is hurt? What if my bone is broken? Wang Zhan still kept smiling, but the corners of his eyes were twitching. Can you break a bone with a spoon? Lord, you are so funny. Then Wang Zhan watched helplessly as Murong Cheng picked up a small spoon, scooped out a small piece of chocolate mousse, and fed it to the girl. The girl had a reluctance on her face, and she ate angrily. Wang Zhan didn't dare to look anymore. His heart beat wildly, and he felt that he had discovered a big secret. To make Grandpa feel so distressed, this girl must be the soul that Grandpa wants to raise. As a conscientious confidant, he must help the master keep the secret without making a fuss. Wang Zhan bowed slightly and retreated, closing the door behind him. While feeding Muzi, Murong Cheng asked, are you going to watch a movie today? Muzi lowered her eyelids, her thick eyelashes fluttered slightly, she didn't look at him, her gaze was a little dodged. Well, I want to watch a movie, she replied. Murong Cheng glanced at the girl's unknowingly curled fingers, his eyes as dark as ink narrowed slightly, he easily saw through her.